the Yoke, from Tales of Folk and Fairies. A man travelled far and had further yet to go. His destination vanished on the horizon. Across the snowy fields and ice, the desert sands and mountains. By and by, he met many others who journeyed along the same path. Travellers alike, they each carried their burdens, and most picked up new ones along the way, though they sometimes abandoned them behind, scattered and discarded along the path. Some were too heavy, others just were not worth the sweat and aches. The way was arduous and full of adventure. He travelled alongside wife, and when she tired, he took her burdens and threw them across his shoulders. Over hills and under starry skies, they travelled and were soon joined by sun. Soon his legs grew sluggish and his back tired, so man took his burdens and strapped them across his back. Then daughter joined them and skipped along merrily until her burdens too robbed her springy steps. Man could not let her joy be smothered, and so he ripped her burdens from her and threw them atop the others. As the miles and years wore on, wife, son, and daughter discarded some of their burdens, but more often acquired new ones, always with the guarantee that any burden too great would be taken by man. As their miles grew long and the path far behind them, man bore greater and greater burdens. They heaped tall atop him, straps, cords, and chains coiled about every limb. The most important burdens of our life, comfort, security, food, were sewn directly into the flesh of his back. Man labored forward and met expectation. Its numbers were legion. They poured from under every rock and from behind every tree and blade of grass. With many arms they climbed, and then at last they sank their barbed claws into his neck, legs, and arms, piercing skin and meat. Their mouths were filled with little needles from which they feasted on his veins. Legacy he found last, though it had been there since the beginning. It gazed on him sadly, its eyes forlorn, and with its heart utterly broken. It climbed atop the burdens sutured onto the man. There it perched precariously, swaying with every pained step that man did take. Joyous steps turned to a sodden march, and from there to a pained shuffle. He could no longer lift his legs, but merely drug his feet flat. His head, once held high, grew far too heavy. He gazed ever at the ground. Once youthful, now old, once vibrant, now tired. His flesh was pale as ash. Breath burned between teeth, clenched against the crunching of bone and sinew, the swaying weight and cost of hope. He slowed but did not quit, grinding each step with a stubborn grit. The love and adoration of wife, son, and daughter dimmed. His ears were far too full of his own beating heart. His legs broke, bone burst through his gnarled skin in ghostly splinters, and he fell forward at last, mercifully dead.